The Lucasville Uprising occurred in 1993. But the conditions that proceeded up to the uprising, the thing that really, served as the focus of the uprising, a school teacher by the name of Beverly Taylor, she was killed, viciously killed, in the early 1990s, 3 years before the uprising. Okay. And allegedly, the inmate was attempted to rape Mrs. Taylor and was caught in the process, prevented from raping her, but it led to her being placed in a hostage situation. And after the school teacher lost her life, those in the surrounding community, understandably, they was, went in the uproar, and they was calling for the inmate to be put to death. The inmate was put on trial, but because of his diminished mental capacity, was prevented from receiving the death penalty. Many people might not know, but you have to be able to, be mentally competent in order to receive. You have to understand what you are doing in terms of your crimes in order to be held accountable.
From an Ohio correctional institution, and they recorded the Bomani.
So it was determined that he wasn't mentally stable enough to be held accountable, so he wasn't sentenced to death. So this reignited the uproar in the surrounding community, and cause for the penitentiary to be completely locked down came, and amongst this, noise and clamor, a new warden was appointed. His name was Arthur Tate. Well, Arthur Tate, he came in, he tried to institute a whole bunch of type measures, cut programs in half. He, started forcing the dress code. And, just really instituting a whole bunch of petty, policies that put prisoners face-to-face with guards. He drew lines on each side of the hallway floors. But even with all that, it wasn't enough to quell the dissatisfaction in the community. And so Warden Tate began making plans to build a high supermax prison on the grounds of the prison there. At the time, supermax prison, was an unheard of word, but it was built all across the nation. And, Ohio was basically late in the race to build their first ultra-modern prison. So he sought, to build this prison on the campus of the prison, and he sought funds from the state legislature, and those funds were denied because when they through the prison, they discovered that Lucasville already had a supermax section called J1, which consisted of 20 cells, which were very seldom, if ever, used. So how then to justify this costly expenditure? It's my theory and other people's theory who was at the prison at the time, who also, followed the trends at the time. It's our opinion that the conditions were created to create a riot. Now that's a hell of an accusation to make. I understand that, but if you look at all the conditions and things that preceded the riot, the thing that really spurred the riot, the actual riot itself, you come to the conclusion that these things could have been easily avoided. In April 1993, several weeks before the uprising itself, Lucasville was administering annual tuberculosis shots to prisoners. The Muslim body within the institution, because of an alcoholic substance in the test that was being administered, an alcoholic substance called phenol, they determined it was alcohol, and it was prohibited from ingesting this, and so they met with the warden and tried to, stamp out some kind of, alternative means by which they could take this test. But, leading up to this, Warden Tate instituted these real companies, as I mentioned earlier, and he started putting, black prisoners in cells with white prisoners. He started suddenly taking away, the coveted jobs around the prison, and he created a tinderbox, tension in the prison. So I'm not saying that this one particular thing with the Muslim refusal to take the test was the start that broke the camel's back, but it contributed to the thing. But all these things contribute, all these factors contribute to the riot. And so Warden Tate, he refused to, give rising with the Muslim prisoners with alternatives. And so the Muslims, according to their explanation of what occurred, they was intended to stage what they hope would be a peaceful demonstration. Now, whether or not this is true, I don't know, because as I write in the book, my first indication that something was amiss was when a CO came running out of the building, you know, being followed by a masked inmate who was pummeling the CO in the head with a nightstick. Now, how you can get to a peaceful demonstration from that, I don't know, but that's not my, burden, to explain.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the history, a brief history of the Lucasville Uprising. I write, to this extent in the book. I write a brief history just to give people a foundation, a sense of what was leading up to the riots and conditions or whatnot. But, like I say, some people say, and I firmly believe that the riot was more or less orchestrated, I believe. It's manufactured, conditions were manufactured.
Correctional institution, and may be recorded or monitored.